Say what's cracking, YouTube? It's your boy 16 to life, and I'm back like I'm on a parole violation. Yard down. Now, for those of y'all that's new to my page, in 1994, I got arrested. I was eventually sentenced to 16 years plus life, and I served 24 years straight in the California prison system. During those times, I accumulated some good stories. I'm going to drop one on y'all today. If you happen to like this video, be sure to hit the like button, leave a comment, subscribe. Most importantly, hit that notification bell. That way, anytime I drop a story, you will be notified ASAP, and you can hop on it whenever you're ready. Also, man, I rap. Do not get it twisted. My flow is nothing like Kurtis Blow. Go to my YouTube playlist, scroll down to gas stations, and you will find some of my music there. Or you can also go to any major streaming site. I got a song called Never Gave Me Therapy. It's on all major streaming platforms. Check your boy out. Now let's hop right up into this video right here. So, yeah, you see the thumbnail, right? Yesterday, while I was doing a live, somebody presented me with this question. Are the Mexican politics better than the black politics, right? And so I was going to answer the question. Then I thought, you know what? This will be a good topic to make a video about. So here I am today giving you guys this video, right? Now, first and foremost, before I get started, right, I want to say, in my opinion, that question is a difficult question to answer. Reason being is because when you are not directly involved in the politics of another organization, it's really hard to say what goes on and what doesn't go on. Prime example right here. A lot of us make the habit of, we may see an athlete, we may see a celebrity and say, you know what, dang man, it may come out in the newspaper that dude is broke. And we'll come out and then we'll say, well, damn, man, why is that dude broke, man? He just played with the Lakers for 6 years. He made X amount of money. This dude has been on this TV show for 10 years. He got X amount of money. But to try to judge someone's situation when you are not intimately involved in that situation, in my opinion, is always a bad thing to do. Trying to look in from the outside, right? So I say that to say that when I was in prison and things happen with other cars, you know, you may see and you may hear things and you may have a general idea of what's going on, but you don't really know because you're not directly involved, you know. So, you know, I didn't go up to them another race or another car and ask, hey, man, what's going on? You know, prime example, there are certain rumors being, I guess, perpetuated, right? Now, let's start off with the blacks. Now, you'll have the Hispanics say the blacks don't check paperwork, right? Now, that is not true. Now, is it mandatory? Do blacks check paperwork? Is it mandatory that they check paperwork all the time? No, it's not mandatory like it is with the Southern Mexicans or the Northern Mexicans, because they're all up under one structure. And I spoke on that several times, right? So I'm not going to go deep into it again today. But also, the blacks believe that the Southern Mexicans are allowed to snitch on blacks, right? The Southern Mexicans say that this is not true. This is a flat out lie. So I said those things to say that sometimes, for whatever reason, rumors or mistruths may get out there, and then it's believed by the other people who are not directly involved in those organizations and who don't directly know what is the truth, right? So it's hard to say. So now let's give props where props is due, you know. Well, let me say this before I get into that, right? For those outside of California who do not know, that when the Southern Hispanics come to prison, they are all under one umbrella. You know, they function as one, as where you have a bunch of different groups amongst the blacks, you know. And so for those not in California, they may not realize that on the streets, the Mexican gangs, they fight among themselves just like the black gangs do, you know. And so they may not realize that, right? But when they come to prison, you know, they're all one. And so that definitely, to me, in my opinion, is a great thing as far as the unity aspect is concerned, because in the California prisons, at least, due to the way everything is set up among racial lines, it's very important that, you know, you be able to assemble a collective, like-minded association of everybody that's pushing up under your umbrella, so it's there are going to be times, because sometimes people like to try to apply free world thinking to penitentiary solutions, and it's not going to work. The California penitentiaries are a different beast, right? So you can't apply free world logic to a California prison situation. And so, it just is how it is, man. California prisons have been segregated by race for the longest. They'll continue to be. So it's definitely important for everybody to be under one accord, especially in times of potential violence and violence, right? And so that's definitely one thing that is better among the Hispanics in the California prisons. Blacks, when you don't have unity, it's hard to move on one accord when you need to move under one accord, and so that's something that's definitely better, right? But like I said, when you're not directly involved in a person's politics, then you may hear rumors or untruths, and for whatever reason, those things continue to go on, right? Now, one thing that I do know, under the black structure, you can be in prison pretty much and be your own person to a certain extent, or at least you'll have more longitude than you have when you're up under the Hispanic structure. Now, let's say, for instance, you're black, you want to go out there. Let's take me as an example. When I was in Ironwood, I had a visitor bringing me weed, right? So I would go out there, I would get weed, I would take it back, and I would sell it. Now, the profit of all drugs, or pretty much any paraphernalia in the California prison system, is exponentially higher than you can make on the street. So, I might get maybe $100 worth of weed from the street, and you be able to make maybe, who knows, maybe $2,000-$3,000 in prison, depending on how you sack it up, So and so I was allowed, though, to get my weed in prison and sell my weed and keep all my money, Now, of course, some of my homies would let's say it was, I would bless them with weed. Let's say it was between being appreciated and expected. It was somewhere between there. It wasn't demanded, and I wasn't obligated to give none of my homies some. If in the event that I did, they appreciated it, and of course, they expected it because we were homies. And then you want to bless your homies and stuff like that, because in the event, and not necessarily in the event you get into it, just because they're your homies. But now, in the event you do get into it, you give some weed to somebody and he doesn't want to pay you. Of course, you're gonna have some homies like, man, that dude was going out there getting weed. He wouldn't even give me none. I'm not supposed to go over there and fight for that dude, or whatever, right? So, like I said, it's always cool to look out and bless your homies, right? But then you keep the profit, you can bubble. Now, we know now, being a Southern Hispanic, that if you try to go out there and you get some weed or whatever, you are going to kick some of that profit up to the higher ups, on the yard. That's just pretty much what it is. You're not allowed to hustle. You're not allowed to be your own man. Now I'm also hearing, I got a homie up there in Salinas Valley. I talked to him today, and you got some Hispanic YouTube channels saying that Hispanics, Southerners, now can't even have a cell phone. If you have a cell phone, it has to go to the higher ups in your organization so they can have it and conduct business and stuff like that. So now, if that is true, imagine being in a organization where you can't even have a cell phone. People don't realize, if you've never been to prison, you get one 15-minute phone call a day. Sometimes, if you're lucky, say if you happen to sign up for 3 o'clock, because we sign up for phone calls in slots, in 15-minute increments. So 8 o'clock, 8:15, 8:30, so on and so forth, So and they start at different cells every day in order to give everybody an equal opportunity to use the phone times to use the phone at certain phone times that are more likely to reach your family. If your family works from 8 to 5, and you can only sign up at 12 o'clock in the afternoon, then you're likely not to reach them, right? And so So if you sign up for a 3 o'clock phone call and it happens to be a fight at 2:45, they put the yard down and you guys are laying down on the ground 15, 25 minutes until that situation is resolved. You've just missed your phone call, you know. And then when you do get through, say you want to talk to your mom, you want to talk to your girlfriend, your dad, you know, your brother, that little 15 minutes goes by so fast. Now let's also say if you're locked down, you be locked down for maybe 2 or 3 months, you know, even a month or two, you know, you're not using no phone. So in order being able to have a cell phone, I don't think that, you know, people who have never been to prison, they don't realize the luxury of a cell phone in prison. When you're able to get on there, man, and call and talk to who you wanted to talk to, who you want to talk to, you know, get in touch with people, being able to look at YouTube and stuff like that. There is no amount of value a person can place on a cell phone in prison. It reconnects you to the world. It keeps you current. You know, some people have cell phones in prison to research their legal case and try to gain their freedom, you know. And so it just, there's, you know, a cell phone in prison is invaluable. So imagine someone telling you, hey man, you know, we can't have cell phones now. We got to pass the cell phones up to the higher ups in our organization, right? And like I said, I've seen people speak on this. Matter of fact, I've seen a channel mention it a couple of days ago, or yesterday maybe it was, or the day before, Renegade Media, right? And so, you know, sometimes you may have people say, hey, well, you know, chill, those channels are dropouts. You know, those are dropout channels. And so they basically just give those dudes no credence because they're a dropout channel, or they went to prison and they did not maintain the rules of their organization. And so they're no longer deemed good by whatever gang they initially claimed. Well, you know, in my opinion, that doesn't automatically take away their credibility, right? Let's talk about Mike Tyson for a minute. At one point in time, Mike Tyson was the heavyweight champion of the world, one of the most feared boxers ever, right? I don't know if many people realize his last fight, I believe it was with Kevin McBride. Mike Tyson quit. He quit. He wouldn't come out for one of the later rounds. He wouldn't come out and finish the fight. You know, also Mike Tyson got knocked out by Buster Douglas, so on and so forth. But does that still take away from the great things that he done into the ring? Does that still take away with him being able to teach somebody right now? So now if Mike Tyson was trying to teach you how to box and he's telling you, well, when you come out with your hands down like this and then swing like this, okay, then maybe you wouldn't pay attention to him. But if he's telling you, you know, come out like this, you duck, you swing, you hook, okay, maybe you're going to pay attention to him. So my whole point of that analogy was, just because a dude happened to drop out at some point, it doesn't necessarily and automatically negate his experience and negate his wisdom. You know, you always should take a person and listen to him for what he's saying, and then figure out if this person is doing any good or not, you know, if what he's saying is any good. We have some people who are considered upstanding gang members, and they'll get up there and they'll tell you a lie, or they'll tell a story based on their bias. So just because a person has not dropped out doesn't necessarily and automatically make him believable and give him immediate credibility, is basically what I'm trying to say, right? And so, like I said, you have this guy on this channel, Renegade Media, talking about a video just that, where, you know, the northern Hispanics, the southern Hispanics have to give up their cell phones and stuff like that. So now, is being part of an organization, is that something that, you know, that doesn't allow you individualism? Is that cool? You know, it just all depends on who you asking, you know, especially being part of an organization or a collective that doesn't allow you individualism, when you are willing to sacrifice your life, your freedom, your health, you know, because when you're in prison and you have to go out here and get into a racially motivated fight or defend the honor of your collective, you're willing to put your health, your life on the line and stuff like that. You know, and they are boxing in what you can and you cannot do. I mean, that's definitely something that I know the brothers wouldn't go for. You know, that's definitely something that the brothers wouldn't go for. So like I said, it just all depends on what side of the coin, you know, you're riding with. Another thing that I've seen in prison, you know, is when it's time to ride and get cracking, right? One thing I do can say, now the blacks, of course, they are extremely loose in certain areas that the Hispanics are not, you know, and so they definitely have a more stringent line of protocol in terms of some aspects of prison, right, that are definitely helpful when you are in a situation that can be racially volatile like that, right? But also, I've seen instances. I told a story one time, man. I was in North Kern, and I don't know why, because like I say, I was not part of that structure. But for whatever reason, apparently, a Southern Mexican had been green lighted. It was put out there that whenever they see this dude, they were supposed to take off on him. Now, the particular individual that I'm talking about at that point in time, he was in the hole. So one day he had to come out to get escorted to the medical for whatever reason. So now, of course, when he's getting escorted by these COs, he's handcuffed. His hands are behind his back. He's being walked across the yard from the whole building over there to the medical. So now when he's walking across the yard, I guess, they realize, hey, man, there's such and such. All the Southern Hispanic population on that yard rushed that dude. They was rushing him, was on him. Beep, boop, bop, beep, boop, bop, bop, boop, boop. Hopped on his helmito real tough and heavy, like, beep, boop, bop, wasn't giving him a break. So now the COs, that's the 3 or 4 COs that's there, pew, they tear ass and get up out of there. They leave dude. So this dude is now, you're having more groups of Southern Hispanics run over there, get on this dude, And so eventually, of course, the alarm goes off. The COs come out there. They try to get control of the situation. So, I guess in trying to protect the dude that's being attacked, some of them accidentally get punched, hit, or whatever. So they take a whole bunch of the Southern Hispanics to the hole. A lot of them got assault charges, whatever they was charged with, right? And so the next day or two, I'm in the building. I hear, now this is nothing that someone has told me. This is what I heard myself with my own two ears, right? I heard some Southern Hispanics say, oh, man, that was messed up. I forget the exact name of the dude that they was talking about. But they was like, man, that dude was going home in 3 more days. So now he has all these type of charges, he has to deal with. No telling what's going to happen to this dude. But like I say, I've seen situations where when it comes to the blacks, maybe you might have one black car get into it with another black car or something like that, and they'll tell one of their homies, hey, homie, listen, man, you short to the house, man. Stay inside the cell. Don't trip, man. We got this. We gonna go handle this. We don't need you, homie. Go home. Don't even worry about that, homie. Go home. We got this. And so my question is, it seemed like if a person really cared about you, he would want you to go home. You know what I'm saying? Not necessarily, I don't need you to go home so you can help me, but you can be more of an asset to me free than you can sitting up in the hole with a with another 3-4 years tacked on to your sentence. Now, of course, if a situation arises where we happen to be on the yard, it's an all-out race riot, and your presence is needed, then okay, man, at that point in time, you really have to fight to at least protect yourself. The level of dedication you put into that fight may be a little different. You know what I'm saying? You might not be running all across the yard like Conan the Barbarian looking to lay people down and stuff, but you definitely going to do what you need to do to protect yourself. So in that situation, like I said, I've seen many a times, man, where blacks will tell their homies, hey, man, listen, excuse me, go on home. Now, of course, if a race riot jumps out, then that opportunity right there is not afforded, because out of necessity, you pretty much have to fight. So, like I said, it just all depends, man. The Hispanics definitely have some good policies in place with their structure, right? But I look at it like this, man. Let's say some dudes just go to the park, right? And they set up a hot dog stand, and they just out there for the day hustling and this and that, as opposed to a franchise. Let's say like Walmart. Walmart is going to have strict rules in place, what you can, what you can't do, stuff like that. And of course, they are going to be more adamant about the way their business is being ran. And, because it's a business. But when you are working for a large franchise such as Walmart, let's keep it 100, right? You are just an employee. You are replaceable. You are expendable. And you're pretty much not cared about past doing the job that has been given to you to do. You know what I'm saying? And so that's why you do have more. And I always keep it 100. Always point out where the blacks need to tighten up. Well, I got to be fair and keep it 100 all the time. That's why you do have more Hispanics, or excuse me, Mexicans, Southern Mexicans, Northern Mexicans who have dropped out and went SNY. And of course, you'll have Mexicans argue, yeah, well, chill, you know why? Because our politics are much harsher than the black politics. And I give you that, true. They are harsher, but harsher doesn't necessarily equate to being fair. Once again, man, I'll watch some of these channels who are considered no good or whatever. There's a good show that I watch sometimes when I'm driving a long distance. It's called Stories from a Current Prisoner. And basically you have a lot of people who are on SNY yards calling in, giving their story. And a lot of times you'll hear the same theme in these stories where a person realizes, hey, you know what I was a part of was not what I thought it turned out to be. You know, it's a lot of political manipulation, a lot of disloyalty, and a lot of cold straight out backbiting and backstabbing. You know what I'm saying? Because the difference between an organization and the blacks who are in prison is just that. You have an organization, and the main goal of the organization is to make money and to further enrich that organization. And so that's the main goal, you know. And so, like I said, at the end of the day, an employee of an organization is really not important, because we can replace you and get more people to do the same job that you're doing. And so, like I said, it just all depends on, you know, what side of the coin that you're riding with and that you're rolling with, you know. So anyway, that's I'm gonna let you guys decide, you know, what structure is best and stuff like that. Like I say, shout out to the Southern United Raza, because they do have a lot of good things within their structure. But to be honest, there's also some things that's not great. Like I said, a person can get sent on his way and ruin his career for sometimes things that are not necessarily that bad, I guess, you know. So it just all depends on who you're dealing with. It all depends on who's making the shots. But anyway, you already know what it is. It's your boy 16 to life. Resume normal program.